Yo. Today we're doing another AGR video, and on this one, it's gonna be for Song of the Deep. And this is what I believe to be like my true hidden gem. Something I wouldn't even choose from everything I have everything I could select from my backlog. But this was just something I'm glad that I actually chose. And immediately when you start this game, I get thrown into the water and get introduced to all the mechanics for the game, from the puzzling to a little bit of just combat, and then introduced to my first boss fight. It wasn't that bad, but at the same time, it's because, you know, I'm assuming it's not gonna give you a hard boss when you start the game, or anything like major to like make you quit. But it was definitely sluggish, like seeing my ship like trying to move around, and I couldn't even dodge. I just could just like, you know, slowly like boost just like everywhere I wanted, which is not bad, because like the first boss wasn't like actually killing me or anything like that. But once that was defeated, what's it called? My second location was these purple caves that introduced me to like the beauty of this game, and the mesmerizing art style of just like, you know, the ocean. How like I said, mesmerizing. It just like lures you in more and more into like deeper and deeper into the ocean to see like what else you know, it can give you. And obviously, like in this first I guess like area of the map, it just like, you know, shows me like the combat. It shows me a little bit of like the puzzling with moving like some statues and like opening doors, and some basic puzzles which were not too hard, but, you know, very fun to, I guess, to explore for the secrets that, like, you know, that you also get throughout this part. And, you know, you get to upgrade your ship and other power-ups that they give you, like this lantern that lets you see in the night, and you know, even more to call upgrade for your grappling, because like I ain't gonna lie, like the enemies here are nothing compared to like literally just the second part. And the enemies in the second part, we only get to it I only get to it, should I say, after like we meet another character of this mermaid thing that leads us I guess like to turn on this what's it called, power. And in order to get through there, we have to get through these hidden caves. So like the game just like throws you immediately into like an amazing, beautiful place of the map, and boom, you get into like these like dark caves or something like that. And I ain't gonna lie, the enemies do start to like, you know, show that they're not just one tap to anything. Honestly, like it was just me being a little bit more cocky and like, you know, thinking like this game's gonna be easy and nothing's gonna like really like be too difficult. But honestly, it really was, because not only did the enemies get harder, but the puzzles kind of, I wouldn't say like they got harder, but they did get tedious in a way where like in the caves you have this like I guess like a path you have to go through, and you have to wait for this I guess like another creature thing like in the ocean to like open the path for you. And I ain't gonna lie, like if these things do so much damage to you. Like it takes like half your health, because you don't even have health to begin with, because you still have to like find more pieces of health for you. And you can upgrade the health, but you can only upgrade how much you gain from every kill of an enemy. But these two parts weren't too difficult, but it definitely like, you know, set the point of like this game is gonna get harder and harder by each stage you get to. And then after this, like I guess like the caves, a stage we get thrown like, well, yeah, because you get thrown into like this like big vast like majority of like the ocean. And like I won't lie, this was just like almost like a wow factor for me, where it was just like surprising but kind of scary, because it's like endless ocean of just blue and you don't see nothing. Like it kind of like, I understand some people's phobias with the ocean now, but like it's honestly just a game, so I was still mesmerized if anything. And traversing through this area wasn't too hard, because it's literally just an open space. I feel like it was kind of like, it felt kind of empty, you know, like there was really nothing in there. But it was just literally just a bypass to get to other parts of the map, which we get to in this ship scene, where the puzzles, they definitely wrap up in difficulty, not in a complex way, but just in a like I said, like in the caves, tedious way. Because you have this, like remember this one specific time where this bomb you have to drag in order to open more doors and like, you know, do puzzles and maybe even find some treasures. But it's so sensitive, where like the smallest little nudge you get, like this is ship, and literally just caressing the goddamn, like any spike or any form of contact to any other wall detonates like nothing. And then you have to come all the way down and drag it all the way up, and then it's just so much like obstacles in the way of other bombs, and then the enemies shooting you as well, which makes it just so much bullshit. But not passing through this level, because I do want to talk about this. The level was just so. One, it looked amazing. Like, obviously, it just, like, there was so much blue, but there was different colors, and obviously the enemies got harder, so they have different variants of them as well. But the puzzles did get more interesting, where you have to, like, maybe, like, use your your ship to open a door for a timer, or push this like ball onto a platform to open a door and get more treasures, and like shoot your light beam on some little creatures in the ground. I want to say like some like eels, whatever, to get more treasure. And honestly, like, it just kept me like, it kept giving me dopamine to keep doing these puzzles, and not even finish the game. I was just kept exploring this area until like I literally couldn't, because I didn't have the upgrades I could get in order to like find these puzzles, which I do like about this game. Of its like almost like pseudo-Galia type of style, or Metroidvania, like the most popular one, where you have to get upgrades in order to retrace your steps back and, you know, open treasures and find new areas and just explore the map as a whole and open it for more, I guess, more adventure, basically. After that one, you have to come back into the caves, and this is where we get to like my first boss, and honestly like the best boss in the game, where you have this spider thing where you enter a room, the spider just emits from the ship, and you have to attack it. But when I entered there, I didn't know what to do. Like, you know, I was doing damage to the enemies and like doing damage to everything else with just shooting stuff and like, you know, throwing my hook to it. So I kept doing that, but I literally couldn't figure it out for like a good minute, where I was just like, what am I supposed to do? And like, when I figured, I guess, the first step, like I figured it out in steps, where like I knew that I had to like drag like the spider cobwebs off the ship in order to like drag it down on top of it. But after that, I couldn't find a way in order to like distract him or like get him off of me, because goddamn, this spider was grabbing me from like half, like literally like the whole, like this is the screen, and like it's coming from like across the screen, almost like clipping through the goddamn, like clipping and just grabbing me like out of nowhere. And I was like, this is some bullshit. Like I wasn't gonna lie, like this is like getting hard, but like I was motivated to get this because it was actually fun, because like it wasn't just me just shooting enemies and that was it. Like obviously there was some enemies, but like it was like a big boss, and I was like, finally something like grand in this big ocean, and I'm finally gonna fight something that's huge. But eventually I did figure it out that you have to use its own cobwebs to like blind it and then bring the whole ship down. And it's like a cool cutscene where like it just kills the spider. And I think I'm not sure, I'm pretty sure you find this like baby Leviathan that comes out of there as well. And it's like, I guess like another partner in the game for Marin. Marin is the main character. After we defeat the spider and you know, kill our first boss, the coolest boss, honestly, and we get the big lead from the mermaid that we meet in order to enter the caves. And I won't lie, I kind of like felt like the narrator in this story was kind of like spoiling the story, but she wasn't. Like, it kind of like threw me off. It was like a I can't explain it, but it just felt kind of like she was telling me something, but I shouldn't believe it, if that makes sense. We enter this tower, and it's literally enemies in like in some areas, but it's mainly just puzzles. And this is where like actual, like, instead of the enemies ramping up in difficulty, it's the puzzles that ramp up in difficulty, where I'm like, I don't understand what I'm doing. But you know, it was still fun, because like it was like lasers like shooting it. I was just like mesmerized, like, wow, like lasers. And I just see it, like you have to connect it, almost like a Cool Math Flash game type thing, you know. But to me it was still fun, but very, very difficult. Where I remember this third level, the third, like, I guess like arena in the tower, where it was overwhelming, where you have like 6 or 7 lasers shooting out of nowhere, and now we have to figure out like the path for each laser to go to in order to open the door, in order to finish the tower. And this is where I honestly like saw this game for like, I guess like a gem, because like I felt like there wasn't a lot of attraction towards this game, like on YouTube or even towards my friends. When I spoke about this game, like they didn't really know anything about this. And when I went on YouTube, like the views are very, very low, but still like pretty high, you know. 200 views is still a lot of people, you know, but it wasn't thousands numbers or even million numbers, you know. But eventually I just followed someone, like it wasn't even a guide, like there was no guide online. I just followed someone's playthrough, and I was like, I figured a third level, and I was like, god damn, that was way too hard. But the puzzle was super like engaging, and just like very, like I said, like a dopamine rush where like you solve one thing and you want to keep solving and keep solving. It was just stacking on top of like harder and harder puzzles where like eventually like you were stuck, but you understand that it's gonna get difficult, so let's turn on this brain, let's work it even harder. And after the tower, we finally get like I guess a pinpoint location for Marin's father, and we get to this like end game city. It's like almost like an Atlantis type, and this is a funny part because we get introduced to another character. It's like a seahorse like machine thing, and you know, like it's the first time I see it, and we get to call like we're about to open a door with this like power up that we get from the end of the tower, and we're about to open the door. It starts to a cutscene where like I guess like the evil enemies in this game like just shoot down the goddamn like the seahorse, and it just breaks down. So you like see it like this little seahorse, little cute seahorse coming in, like, oh my god, I'm gonna see like I guess like the city where it's like you're supposed to be at, and you just get obliterated like bitch. Like, oh my god, it was too funny because like the game was so janky where like when the cutscene ended, like the seahorse was still there, you know, posing whatever, and then it just like immediately like in a matter of a second just like collapsed and just like turned into like a pile of fucking like machinery, and it was just like, what the fuck happened here? Like, why did it just die? It just should have like ended the cutscene with it on the ground, not just like literally just like almost like a fart just died onto it. That was stupid. But we get into the end city, and I don't know why we just leave the seahorse there, but we leave the seahorse and we continue to call into the city to find the Marin's father. And the puzzles here and like the enemies are just so how like to describe it, it's just this is where like I want to say fun, like actual fun comes in, where you have to like we get a power up for dodging, which is like insane. Why do we get the power up so later on? Like now I can like literally dodge out the way. I have 3 variants for what's called elemental powers of like just like electricity, magma, and then now ice. And the puzzles just get way more creative too. We're using your what's called elemental powers in order to like I guess open doorways or like do time events where you have to use this ice to shoot the ball and levitate and like, you know, make it float in order to like move it to a different place. And like it gets really like creative with these what's called levels where like even the actual city is like a big machine where like passing through these areas of the map like shift literally the whole city, and it's so mesmerizing to see. You're like this is just way too cool. Obviously it's like a kid's game, but it's like imagine if someone made this in real life. It's just that cool. The puzzles get like fun where like you have to like use everything, because you also get this power up where you can use Marin, the main character, like you can get out the ship and use the ship and Marin as 2 entities and work together in order to call you know, traverse the map. And you find so many secrets, and like using Marin to squeeze into like different parts you couldn't get into, just like, you know, makes the game just so like kiddish, but like in a good way. Like gives you a good feeling. Just like keep progressing. Like you feel like you're getting smarter. You're like learning more about this game as you play, obviously, because it's a game. But eventually we find out that Marin's father isn't there at all, and we're like, okay, it's a twist. And this like big tentacle like Kraken thing just grabs us, but then we just like end the cutscene, and then we're good again. And we're like, we meet with what's called the mermaid thing, and now she's asking us to fix the seahorse in order to get to the locked area. So now we have to fix up the seahorse, and this is where it kind of gets like kind of horror in this game. Not horror, but kind of like scary, I won't lie. Where like how we spoke about like this, like the big grand like emptiness of ocean, and now we have to like descend down into the deep darkest parts of the ocean. And then it's like this is where some phobias kick in for some people. I'm pretty sure if they ever play this, because like now you're like empty blue ocean, and it's just you emerge into like a pitch black like not hole, but like area of the map where you can't use your light. You can't like I guess you can't get out with Marin because like it's just so dark. And then like you only use this sonar thing which you get from the tower in order to like to get through this dark path. But then there's these enemies that just one-shot you immediately. If you turn on your light, they see the light and they attack you. They go straight for you, you know, they just come straight for you and attack you. And then if you bump into them, because you can't see obviously, you bump into them again, boom, you're dead. Clap, easy, done. But you know, that section wasn't too hard. It was just like kind of like there's a lot of tension because it was just so like I was on the edge of my seat, like, oh, I don't want this. I had to, and it's so squeezed in for these corridors of the map, so I had to, like, you know, finesse my way with this like this like clunky goddamn submarine that's like, so like, it's like almost like a hockey puck in ice that just like you want to stop, but it's like you're in space where you can't really stop. The momentum keeps going. But eventually you get past this part, and we go to these bone areas in order to get a piece for the seahorse. And now these enemies are chasing you, and it's like I said, this is where it gets horror, because the things start chasing you and you can't do damage, and now like the enemy is like the map is like closing in on you, and you're like trying to run away and stuff like that. And eventually I do get away, but it wasn't until like the third try, and these things like one shot you and are fast as fuck, honestly. But that wasn't too hard. We had to, you know, go back up from this dark area, which is like, you know, I feel like I kind of got it now, so I was confident. And we finally get to to the end part of this game, where we find Marin's father, but it's like, I guess, like almost captured by, or like surrounded by this kraken thing that grabs us before we get to the cutscene. And now it's end game boss fight time. And let me throw this out there, just like, you know, heads up immediately. This boss fight, trash. Let me just say this immediately, because this is how much of a disappointment it gave me. Like, it just bummed my whole experience. It is trash. Like, you have this big kraken, like big monster thing, you know, the sea, like the most mythical thing that's like talked about in the ocean, other than the Leviathan. And you literally just fight it, but it's like almost like a wave rush of mobs. It's just like mobs coming in at you, and you know, they don't really like, the actual kraken thing doesn't do an attack towards you. It just sends in enemies, and you're supposed to defeat them all, and then, you know, take like a shield off of the kraken. And this is how disappointed I am, because like, you know, my tone is like not that good anymore, because like it just bums me out. And thinking about it just bums me out, because like we go through this cool adventure of like these amazing puzzles, and like the different ways you use your elements to, like, you know, open doors and solve different treasures, and just like the amount of like the amount of beauty and like how gorgeous this like whole world is. It just like pulls you in and makes you like want to learn more. Just to end from this like boss fight, you just kind of, I mean, I felt kind of like not satisfied, almost like if like I'm 100% there, but it just died down immediately. And you know, you defeat the boss, but it literally like doesn't feel like right, honestly. So, and that's why in that case, like when I defeated the boss, I did what's it called, you know, I kept exploring in different areas, and like found like even different power-ups that like the story, like that you follow the story doesn't really like tell you, or like it tells where to go, should I say. So I have to like figure it out on my own. And that's what I do enjoy about this game, how like the exploration of like this whole journey makes you keep exploring, makes you keep wondering what else is there, what else can I do in this game, and what other like, I guess, possible like movement, not like possible like possible things I can do with my elements, and like with Marin, or even like how to use them both together. And it just makes you just keep thinking and finding new treasure to upgrade your submarine, and see the different, I guess, like variants of like weapons you can get, and other upgrades that you can use in order to fight monsters and whatever. But honestly, like that last boss fight just really threw everything out the window for me, and just like made me feel like meh, you know. At the end, it was a cool ending, you know. Marin does find her father eventually, and like, you know, whatever, happy ever ending. But that really gave me like a bad like taste in my mouth. So that's why like when I was scoring this game, like it was shooting for a 10, and then, you know, some of the puzzle, I mean some of the elements of this game just came kind of repetitive, so it dropped it to a 9 to be more realistic. And honestly, just this ending boss fight dropped it down even more, because like it just made me feel not like, it just did not make, it made me feel like there was closure for this game, honestly. And that's why I'm giving this game like an 8 out of 10 for it. Honest review, because an 8 out of 10 is still a good game, and I would recommend this to anybody who wants to try this out. But like I said, that ending part, you know, don't get your hopes up. But with everything else in this game, it's just such a pleasure to play. And for that, I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. All right, this was AGR. I don't even know what number, but I will see you on the next one, and I will be playing Judgment for that one. So, peace.
Toward them, she closed her eyes as the darkness fell over her. when she opened her eyes, there was a roof of green, gleaming scales above her. A giant queen leviathan had taken the brunt of the blow from the falling debris. A moment later, a much smaller serpent swam down toward her. It was Swish. "Is this your mother, Swish?" Merrin asked in astonishment. But Swish just wagged his tail and beckoned for her to grab on. She and her father grabbed hold of the two leviathans, and together they swam up, out of the still collapsing debris of the Forbidden City. They swam out of the darkness and into the gleaming rays of sunlight that streaked through the water's surface. And at last, for the first time in what seemed like ages, Merrin and her father looked out over the waves toward their house in the distance. They said goodbye to the pair of leviathans, and Merrin promised to come play with Swish each day in the deep waters below the cliffs. And bit by bit, Merrin's life slowly went back to normal.